Follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to like. Mickey 17. This is a movie I was looking forward to last year, which I believe it was supposed to release also in March, but for whatever reason it got pushed to this year. And the trailer for the film got me pretty hyped, and I was really looking forward to this film. The director made this other film called Parasite, which I have not yet seen, but there's a lot of hype around it. Apparently it's a very good film, so just the hype around the director had me interested in also seeing this film, Mickey 17. Robert Pattinson's performance as multiple Robert Pattinsons as this character Mickey, his performance is really good, so shout outs to Robert Pattinson. But the movie itself really sucks. It hurts to say that because I've been looking forward to this movie for 2 years. And I guess I don't know what I was expecting. Well, I had an expectation, but it wasn't what I got. I thought it was going to be, a comedy sci-fi film about, I guess I was expecting a dark comedy about cloning, which is kind of what you get in this film, but in a disappointing way. So it's like a dark comedy sci-fi about cloning, but it's also disappointing. If you guys have seen Parasite, or if you've seen any of this director, I think it's like Bong Joon-ho, or I don't know how to say his name. He's Korean, I believe. If you've seen his films before, is Parasite his first and only film? Is this his second film? Because I feel like from after watching this film, I have no interest in watching Parasite now. And I have no interest in seeing what he might make in the future because this film really just wasn't it for me. Anyways, I'll get into some more details, slight vague spoilers after this 10-second commercial break. The Stars and Stripes Freedom Deck ships exclusively in the United States. Available on eBay and Etsy. Link in the description below. Alright, so in Mickey 17, we have Mark Ruffalo, who plays this cartoonishly cringe antagonizing character who commands a spaceship, and in this future there are many different voyages going to different planets to colonize the cosmos, basically. And on this ship, they introduce in the story kind of sporadically, you learn about it at different points in the film about the cloning technology, and there's conversations about, is it ethical to cloned people, especially because of the issues of having multiple clones, which they would call multiples. There's a weird thing too about the multiples situation, because when you sign up to become what they call an expendable, which is what they use the cloning program for, due to the dark history of this cloning technology, they decide to keep the technology, but only for the purpose of basically making humans expendable to do dangerous jobs. But the humans who sign up to become these expendables, every week you have to create a weekly backup of your memory so that if you die within a week's time, your memory won't be so far back into the past that it's hard for you to keep up with what's ever going on in the current time. But the weird thing is, a lot of people in the film make it a point to ask Mickey, what's it like to die? But it's like, well, it doesn't really make sense for him to even have an answer, because he's not like he's backing up his memory when he's dying. He backs up his memory and then he dies. So he would actually have no memory of the death because he wouldn't be there to back it up. So that just didn't make sense to me. Like, how are you going to ask this guy what's it like to die when he doesn't even know? He's like not simultaneously doing the backup and dying at the same time. Also, apparently when a new clone comes out, it has like a new personality, which what's the point of the backup? Why would it come out with a different personality if you're running it based off of the backup? Because at some point, when we get to the point in the movie where there's the two clones existing at the same time, they have different personalities. But it's like, you guys are running off of the same backup. And why do the previous ones just have different personalities? So it also kind of makes it a little bit weird when we get to the end of the film and we have like the final surviving Mickey, and he's talking about his previous Mickeys, like, oh, I wish they would have survived too. But it's just like, well, it still doesn't make sense why you would even have any kind of connection with those previous Mickeys, because if they did indeed have different personalities, it's not like you knew them, so why would you care? But my point is, we never get to know who is the real Mickey. Anyways, the movie does get a little preachy too at times. There might be some trying to relate to current day politics, I guess, if they're, I don't know, that seems like there was kind of some of that inspiration in this film, is that, there's red hats, and yeah, it's kind of cringe. There's also, like, with the preachiness, trying to make a point about colonization is bad, but at the same time, why don't they just, at the end of the film, if they felt bad about what they were doing to these roly-poly aliens, why don't you just leave? Like, why did you stay? If colonization is bad, why did you stay on the planet? I mean, I think it's because at the end they had a black girl boss captain. So they were just like, you know what? It's okay now. Our social messaging has been achieved. So now colonization is good, actually. But that's the thing too. There's only a few interesting characters in this film. There's like three, and it's Robert Pattinson as the various Mickeys. This other girl who we kind of introduced to a little later, her name is Kai, and then the backstabbing friend. Those are really the only characters I kind of was invested in. For Mickey, obviously, because you see it through his perspective of living these different lives, and also Robert Pattinson's performance is just really good. And then Kai, who I thought was more interesting than the actual girlfriend, the black girl boss, whatever. The Kai character was a lot more interesting, especially when we get to this dinner scene and they again demonstrate how Mickey is used as like a lab rat. We see how Kai's character can become an addition to the Mickey dynamic, but it sucks because they kind of just cut her off from there. Like we get a backstory on Mickey and the black girl boss, but then when we get to Kai, there's this moment where they're there and she's witnessing this kind of sacrificial purpose of Mickey, and she has this empathy or sympathy for him, and because they're both being recruited as these tools for the Mark Ruffalo character. I don't even know what his character's name was, but whatever, Mark Ruffalo's character, the cringe captain, that's what I'll call him. So as we're here at the dinner with the cringe captain and his cringe wife, we see a moment that they're sharing together where they're both going to be basically become, well, Mickey's already an expendable tool, but then we see that Kai is also going to become an expendable tool. So then now they're sharing this kind of struggle together at this moment at the dinner table where Kai kind of stands up for Mickey. And then there's this direction where they go in where it seems like because there's two of the Mickeys, like she might end up in this kind of romantic relationship with the 17 Mickey, the Mickey 17. And then they kind of just abandon the whole storyline. It's kind of disappointing because I was like, wait, where's that going? Stop, come back. Where were you going to go with that? Like, please continue. And they're like, nah, we're going to go back to the black girl boss. And that girl, she's not interesting. I don't know what her name is. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Nasha. Okay, the Nasha character. Anyways, Nasha's not interesting. She wasn't really, they definitely give her moments to show that she cared about Mickey, but I didn't care about their relationship, to be honest. By the time I was like, why don't you just take off with Mickey 18 and you let Kai and Mickey 17 run off and have their own thing? That's the other thing too about the Kai characters. By the end of the film, she has a new girlfriend, I guess. Like she doesn't end up with Mickey, but she ends up having this new girlfriend, but we don't know anything about that character. Like there was no exposition or explanation about why she has this new girlfriend character. Like we never see her in the film. She has nothing to do with the story at all. And then we just see her at the end, so we're supposed to be like happy for her, I guess. But it's like, why? Who's this character? Why should I care about her? Like it just doesn't make sense. I really wanted to see where they were going to go with the Mickey direction because of the chemistry that was building up on screen. Whereas when you bring in this other character who we hear nothing about, so it's like, how are we supposed to just believe like, oh yeah, that made sense that she would end up with her because the chemistry? Guys, it doesn't make any sense. And by the time they get to the end of the film and kind of the Mickey 18 does this, I guess, heroic sacrificial whatever, he kind of sacrifices himself for the this deal they're having with these roly-poly aliens. It just, I don't know. That's the other thing too, because by the end of the film, like I said, we went through this whole story about like colonization bad, and unless it's like the black girl boss, then it's good. But it didn't even make sense for the Nasha character for her to become this whatever, their president at the end of the film, because she's not even the one who was doing the negotiating with the aliens. It was Mickey, and it wouldn't even make sense for Mickey to be the elected boss either. Like neither of those characters would have made sense as the new leader. To be honest, none of the characters would have made sense as a new leader. Like I said, if your social justice message is that colonization is bad and we're harming the aliens, and actually we're the aliens on this planet, this is their home and they're the natives and blah 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 blah, then why didn't you just end the film with them going back to Earth because colonization is bad? I just don't understand. Is it just because they made the black girl the president at the end of the film that they're like, actually now it's good, we can stay now? I don't get it. I just yeah, anyways. I'm sad. I was really looking forward to it and ended up sucking so bad. But yeah, that's it for me. Be part of our story. Buy the Stars and Stripes Freedom Deck, the deck that defines the American dream. Ships in the USA only. Available from La Casa Loca on eBay and Etsy. Follow us on Twitter at Ghettoplex_MP4, on Instagram at Ghettoplex.mp4, and subscribe to us on YouTube at Ghettoplex.